folks, welcome. This is 108 Stitches, which is a mostly knitting video podcast. My name is Emily and I live here in Seattle, Washington with my pup Norman and my husband Ovis, and I normally say that in a different order, with my husband Ovis and our pup Norman. Welcome, thank you so much for joining us today. Excuse me. It has been a week. It's been quite a week. There have been some really high highs and some really low lows this week, I will say. Oh, excuse me, sorry, I kind of have something in my throat. That's what happens when you just start talking all of a sudden, I guess. But I'm really excited to be chatting with you. I am going out of town. I think I've talked about this a while in the last couple of episodes. Excuse me. I'm going out of town on Thursday, and so I'm really glad to be able to get a podcast episode in. I'll probably miss and not record next week, but wanted to definitely share some progress on what I've been making and what I've been up to, and also some plans that I have as well for the next little bit here. I have so many things that I want to cast on, so many things that I want to knit. I'm feeling so excited and so inspired by everything. And unfortunately, I will talk about this in a little bit. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen that I had a little bit of a finger injury yesterday. And so I'm not at my peak knitting performance right now because of that, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, let's just get into it. So I often forget this, and I'm going to try to remember and do it at the beginning today and tell you all what I'm wearing. This is the Soirée sweater, which is one of my very favorites and most worn sweaters. I knit this a couple years ago, I believe, and it is a pattern by Emily Foden. I knit it from the Knits About Winter book, which is just a beautiful collection of patterns, really beautifully photographed as well. And then I used her yarn as well, Viola yarn. I just love that name as well. I think she named it after her grandmother, but I actually played the Viola, same spelling, different pronunciation, which is a stringed instrument similar to the violin, slightly larger with different strings. And I played that all through elementary, middle, high school, and still have a viola. I played in a community orchestra here not here, when we lived in Redmond, Washington. I played in a community orchestra there as well. So I just love that name. I don't know. It has a special kind of feeling or connection to me. So anyway, I don't remember the exact colorways. I did use a strand of their fingering weight yarn, which is just a standard. I think it's a 75-25 merino nylon. It's a 4-ply fingering weight yarn. And then I also used a strand of their Mohair. So Mohair and silk lace weight yarn as well, and I love how it turned out. It has this really fun detail. I think I've shown this on the podcast before, so I'm probably repeating myself, but it has really fun honeycomb detail under the sleeves, and the cable around it as well is just really nice, and I think the shape is just really lovely. I think it just drapes beautifully, and yeah, this is one of my favorite knits to wear, so I decided to wear that today and just feel nice and cozy. It is probably verging on not being sweater weather here anymore in Seattle, although it's still fairly chilly and cold. I think it's still in the 50s today, so that seems still okay to wear sweaters. But I'm hoping we're going to, like I mentioned before, we're going out of town on Thursday. We're traveling to Wisconsin to visit my sister and her boyfriend, and my whole family's coming. Then we're going to go to Chicago and Milwaukee as well. I know I've talked about this before, but apparently the weather there has been really warm, really nice and hot. And I'm looking forward to that, but I'm also hoping that by the time we come back, that the weather here in Seattle has it figured out, knows that it's summer and that it's time to be warm. So that is my hope. So maybe these are going to be my last couple days of wearing sweaters for the year. So that is what I'm wearing today. I don't remember the information about the sizing or my gauge or anything. I think I have most of that information up on the Ravelry page. So I can link my Ravelry project page below if you guys want to check that out. So that is what I'm wearing. All right. let's talk about what I've been knitting on. I don't have any finished objects this week. Yeah, I made pretty good progress, but nothing was close enough to be able to be finished this week. But I do have some works in progress I want to share with you. The first one I didn't make a ton of progress on, but I wanted to just show you because I did a little bit of progress, and then it's kind of like accountability for me to show you next time too, to yeah, just to keep you all updated. So this is a pair of socks that I'm knitting for my brother. He very sweetly and kindly requested that I knit him another pair of socks. I'm more than happy to oblige. I think I mentioned this maybe a couple episodes ago, but one of my very favorite things is like knitting for people who really want it. Like someone who's gonna love and appreciate something I knit for them, that's just like my favorite thing. So anyway, he asked for a pair of socks, and I am knitting him just a standard kind of like 3x1 rib. I did a 1x1 rib at the top for like 12 rows, and then now I'm doing a 3x1 rib. The yarn I'm using is Grenouille. This was the day 25 skein, I believe, last year. So 2021, I think. Advent. So this is like the Christmas Day skein for the Grenouille Advent. It's called Wolfsbane, and I know I've shown this up close before. Sorry for my band-aid. I am injured. Okay, I don't know if that will focus at all, but you can kind of see it. It's focusing on me and not on that. There we go. So it's a beautiful like gray, brown, blue. There are even bits that are kind of like purpley in there as well. And here's the sock. And I think it's just knitting up so beautifully. I love the way it's like a low kind of like a kind of low contrast variegated yarn where it's not like super crazy when you knit it up. It still feels like if you look at it, it doesn't look like a solid color, but it looks like kind of uniform in color. Oh, focus on me. Maybe. Hopefully my camera doesn't have issues today. But yes, I always knit socks on US size 0, 9-inch circulars. I did 64 stitches for this one. I guess, I don't know, I've talked to other people. I guess my sock knitting gauge is like really loose because I have to do it on super small needles, and it's still like I've never had a sock be too small. I always have socks be too big. So I guess my sock knitting gauge is really loose. But yeah, 64 stitches. Anytime I do a rib sock, that I feel like is really safe, especially if you're knitting it for someone else. So that is my first work in progress. Hopefully I'll make more progress on that. This is one of the projects I'm planning to take with me to on vacation because it'll be really easy for me to knit on, small, easy to travel with. The other project I'm planning on taking with me on vacation, I just cast on. So this is a new cast on. And I talked about doing this, I think last week I talked about it. And I did go ahead and cast on the Moonset Tee by Ozetta. And I just cast it on, and then you do short rows. So you cast on at the back and then do short rows for the back to give it like a little higher center back neck. And I don't know if you can really tell, it's kind of curling up on itself, but this is what it looks like so far. So if you're unfamiliar with this pattern, I'll try to put a picture of the tee up on the screen. It has this really cool kind of like overlapping collar in the front. And it is just like otherwise a pretty basic stockinette t-shirt. And I am knitting this using Ovis, etc. So if y'all have watched, you know I bought a ton of this yarn in different colors. I'm just obsessed with it. This is the one I didn't initially buy and then I had to go back for it. And then of course it's the one I'm casting on first. But they have several bases, but the one that I am using for this project is Ovis, etc. I think it's pronounced Igneae. Not 100% on that. Igneae. I'll put it down in the description below as well. And it is a 60% wool, 20% Aimee, 20% silk. And if you're unfamiliar, Aimee is a plant fiber that just gives it like a really nice kind of sturdiness and like shine as well. So I think this is like perfect. This base feels perfect for a summer top with the silk and the Aimee in it. but the wool still keeps it nice and like squishy and plumpy and plump, I guess, not plumpy, squishy and plump and soft. And I'm like obsessed with this color. I think this is just going to be the perfect summer top. So some information for you about this. This is a pattern by Ozetta. I don't remember if I said that or not. She also has a moonset pullover, which I think is knit at a different gauge. This is knit with fingering weight. I don't know if I said that. This is a fingering weight yarn. But she has another one that I think is like fingering weight and mohair held together or something. I don't know exactly the gauge of that one. I think it's called the Moonset Pullover, and it's longer sleeves as well. So this one is a fingering weight tee. I actually got gauge. I didn't do a full swatch and block it, but I did like knit a little bit and then kind of measure it. And then like trying to take into account that it would grow a little bit with blocking. I got gauge on a US 2.5 needle. The pattern actually calls for a US 3. I decided to cast on and swatch with a US 2.5 because I expected I would maybe be a little bit loose, and then also my US 3s, my needles were in another project, so I was like, hopefully the 2.5 works. So I went ahead and swatched on that, and I think it'll be just fine. I was kind of in between sizes, the first and second size, and so I went ahead and knit the second size. I cast on for the second size, so hopefully that will give me a good amount of ease, and then even if my gauge was like slightly off, I think that'll give me a good bit of wiggle room, but I think it should be just fine. So yeah, that is this project. So I finished the short rows, and now I'm just going back and forth on the back, and then I haven't read super far ahead. I'm not really sure like what comes next. I know you do the front pieces, but I haven't completely figured out what all that entails. So the reason I wanted to cast this on and not work on some of my other projects when I'm traveling is just the two other projects that I'm working on right now are both new designs by me, and those require some thinking and some effort. They also are both like, they have a lot of yarn associated with them, so I don't want to take like really large projects with lots of yarn for travel, and I don't want to have to be like doing math or like figuring out the pattern while I'm traveling. I want to be able to just like follow instructions and do something pretty easy. So that's why I decided to cast this on. I also have been like, I mean, it's already like halfway through June. I've definitely been feeling the itch for summer projects, so that's part of the reason as well that I really wanted to cast this on. So yeah, I am really enjoying knitting with this yarn so far. It feels like a really good alternative to other kind of summer yarns if you don't love cotton. I think like a 60-40, 60% wool, 40% something else, where some 40% plant fiber is like a great summer yarn, and I really like the Ramian silk in this one, so definitely would consider. And this, I got this yarn at the shop that I work at, La Mercerie, and I know that we still have some available, and we also have an online store, so anywhere you are, if you want to be twins with me and you want to knit a matching moonset tee or any other project, I would definitely recommend that you grab some of this yarn. There's some other beautiful colors. I love the whole color palette. They're just beautiful, like solid tonal yarns in a beautiful palette. I'm just so in love with it. So that is my second work in progress. And then the other two projects I've been working on are both new designs. So first I'll start with my dad's sweater. So if you've been following along, I feel like I give a little mini spiel about this one every time, and maybe I'm not going to do the whole spiel this time. So if you're new and you're watching this episode for the first time, first of all, thank you so much and welcome. I'm happy that you're here. But also, you should probably go back an episode or two and watch me talk about what this sweater is and why I'm doing it and the inspiration and everything. The super short version is that I'm designing a pattern that is inspired by these sweaters that my dad knit, or not knit, my dad wore. Still wears, I guess, too. So I've talked a little bit in the past as well about the construction of this sweater, but I can talk about it a little bit more today as well. I am doing a set-in sleeve construction, but top down rather than bottom up, and doing the sleeves top down as well so that you don't have to seam the sleeves in, because I hate doing that and I'm not going to write a pattern that does something that I don't want to do. So I started by casting on, doing a provisional cast on for the back, and then knitting the back panel down through the armholes, and then I grabbed those stitches, those live stitches from the provisional cast on, and did the right and left front, joined those here. I did the little collar, like neckband thing, and then I joined under and did the armholes as well, and then I joined at the underarm and started knitting in the round, and then I was doing that, like just working on the body, and I had some concerns about how large the armhole was, and so I really wanted to just go ahead and get started on one of the sleeves so that I could check it out and see like what it looks like. And I had never done this type of sleeve construction before as well, and I told you all before, like I did a ton of reading and watching videos and research about like how to do the sleeve construction. And so I was just like really kind of anxious to get started on a sleeve. I really wanted to give it a go and see how it went. And it went beautifully. It went so well. I think it worked out exactly the way that I wanted to. But basically the way that the sleeve construction works, I, left bound off stitches, or not bound off. I had the armhole stitches that were not live. They were just kind of, around the arm. And then I picked up those stitches around the armhole and then did a short rows on the top of the sleeve to make as a little sleeve cap. So in contrast to like a sweater kind of like this is like a drop shoulder, right? I don't know if you can tell, like you can see in the construction super well because this one has like the cable and other stuff. But basically like, you don't do armhole shaping here because the top of the body of the sweater kind of folds over and lands like part way through your arm here, and then you can pick up the stitches around the armhole and just knit the sleeve down straight to, no problem. The difference in a set-in sleeve, and you guys probably know this, but just to give a little background, the difference in a set-in sleeve is that there is armhole shaping here. So rather than the shoulder piece kind of going down and ending here, it ends kind of on top of the shoulder. So there's like a little shoulder here, and then you have your standard like armhole shaping like that, right? So if you pick up stitches around that armhole and then you just knit it straight out, it would be weird because the bottom part would go a little farther and the sleeve would be wonky. It would just be a weird kind of sleeve length on the top, and bottom would be different. I don't even know what that would, like, it would bunch weird. I don't know. It would be weird. So what you have to do is do extra sleeve cap rows on the top part so that you bring the sleeve down kind of to where it is here for the drop shoulder. You need to bring the top stitches down a little bit, and then you can do your tube. So I just picked up and then just I watched some videos and read about the proportions and like where you should start doing your short rows and how many short rows you should do. And then based on the gauge of the sweater and just some other like instincts that I had, I made decisions about how to do that, and then I did it, and this is it. And you can see that I have like a little sleeve cap here. You can see that there are like stitches that are kind of growing out of the seam here, and I think it just turned out really nice. It is, based on the inspiration sweater, it is a really large sleeve, especially at the top. And then rather than doing just even decreases all the way down the sleeve, you do more gradual decreases for a while and then more like frequent decreases right at the end. So it's almost like a balloon sleeve, which is really fun. I can show you, this is the inspiration sweater, so I can show you what this sleeve looks like. But you can see here that like there are decreases toward the top of the arm here for a while, but it's pretty gradual decreases. And then toward the bottom, or toward the wrist here, there's like more decreases right here. So I also mapped that all out. I don't know if this is interesting to you all to hear about my actual design process, but I'm still in the gradual decrease section, but it's a nice, like, pretty large sleeve, very roomy, so it'll be a really nice cozy sweater, I think. And I haven't yet finished this sleeve. I don't know, maybe I should bring this project with me on my travels. It's larger, but if I have room, it could be a good one to work on, because at this point I have the whole sleeve mapped out, and so the second sleeve is probably not too tough to just like follow the same instructions as the first sleeve, and then I also just have to finish the body. So that's all I have to do. I'm really hoping that I can finish this sweater by the end of the month. That'll give me plenty of time to write up the pattern and grade it, and then I'm hoping for this to be released in the fall. probably in like October or November is my guess. Just timing-wise, that works out with some other stuff as well, some exciting stuff upcoming. So that is my hope. So that would give us some time to test it in like maybe August or September. Still trying to figure all of that out. We'll have to see how long it takes to write the pattern and everything, but I'm really in love with how this is going. I know it's kind of a more simple, like basic design, but I'm trying to take as much time and care as I can to design something and write a pattern that's like really intuitive and easy to follow, and the construction is like really fun and unique, and I'm just really enjoying doing this, and so I can't wait to share this one with you all. Hopefully you love a nice basic wool sweater as well. And this definitely does feel like a design or like a pattern that I'm gonna want to knit a lot of times. I can already feel like I want to do tons of different versions. I'm gonna knit one for my dad too, and then we can match. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really happy with how this is going, and the yarn is an absolute dream to work with as well. It's not too scratchy, but it does have that like really nice woolly feel, which I really love and I think is perfect for this project. And I'm looking forward to working with this yarn again in the future. I've really enjoyed it. And this color, I mean, like, such a beautiful basic gray color. Like, I love a light gray. So yeah, anyway, that's all. Probably too much information about my progress on this sweater. Now that I think about it, yeah, I'm wondering maybe I should just take this with me. The other thing is, I guess I'll talk about what happened to my finger in a little bit, but with my finger, I hurt my finger that I use to hold tension when I knit. It's my index finger on my left hand. And for some reason, the way that I knit, it feels okay when I knit, but it feels a little bit uncomfortable and like weird when I purl. So this could be a really good project to work on because it's basically stockinette in the round at this point on both the sleeves and the body. So it's almost all knitting. So that could be a good one for me to bring with me. So anyway, that is my dad's sweater work in progress that I'm working on. And my last work in progress, this is a fun one. So this is one I shared on the podcast last week as well. And I talked about it on Instagram. I posted about it a little bit there as well. And I think people are really excited. It sounds like you guys are really excited about this one. I'm really excited about it too. I think it's really fun. And I didn't even realize how excited everyone was for it. I had more people come in, I'll talk about this too in a little bit, to the store that I work at on Saturday, and multiple people mentioned it to me and mentioned it to Jess, the store owner, as well, that they were like excited about this pattern, and I'm really excited about it too, and I feel like I've been making pretty quick progress. But this is the back piece of what I'm tentatively calling right now like slanty stripes vest. I'm not sure what the name is going to be, if I'm going to call it vest or top, slanty stripes top or whatever, because I imagine I will probably wear it as the vest but also as just like a tank top. But anyway, I finished the back panel. So this is the back panel. I have not yet cast on the front. I finished this morning, and I love it. I don't know if I could love it more. Look, I mean, it's just so fun. The colors are perfect. I love the colors that I picked for this project. I think it just matches this like fun, playful design really well. The little slanty intarsia stripes are so much fun. And like a wider stripe I think is really fun for me too. This stripey turtle tank, my first design, if you guys haven't seen it, I guess I can put a picture up here, has much smaller, thinner stripes. They're 2-row stripes, and these ones are, the main color stripes are 7 rows, and the like contrast color stripes are 5 rows, so it's definitely a thicker stripe, which I really like, and is like very different and a little more fun. And yeah, it's just been like, it's been super addicting to knit. It feels like it's been cruising. I sit down to knit on this and I just keep telling myself like one more stripe. Like I just wanted, I don't know, and like picking the colors to go together has been so much fun. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying knitting this. So let me, I guess, give you some information about this. This is a new design by me. Not sure yet when it's going to be tested and published and everything. My hope I would really love to publish it in August, which is the anniversary of when I published the Stripey Turtle Tank. So maybe just every August we'll have a fun like mini skein stripey project, or like a great project you can use for scrap yarn, like a new design every August. I think that could be really fun. Should we do a knit along? That would be really fun. Maybe right when I release this pattern, we can do a knit along, and you can knit either this, or you can knit the Stripey Turtle Tank, or like any other project that use minis or scrap yarn or anything. It could be fun. Okay, I'm gonna think more about that, but let me know if you would be interested in doing a knit along in August. But anyway, more information about this design. So this is, all of the yarn I'm using is Woolberry. It is not all the same base. So she has several fingering weight bases, and I got these all kind of at different times from different things. And so I have different bases here. I don't remember which is which. I know I have some berry cashmere, which is a merino wool, cashmere, and nylon blend. And then I have some berry sock, which is a BFL and nylon. And then I have one berry mini, which I think is just a standard merino nylon, like an 80-20 merino nylon. They are all really nice 2-ply yarns. The gauge works out, like with all of them, is really similar, so I don't have any trouble, switching them in and out, like using them all in a project together. So yeah, I think it's working out really well. I can tell you the colorways again if you're interested, and I know some of these are actually like available if you want them. I know we have some of them at least available at La Mercerie. And I know like Woolberry doesn't have kind of in-stock yarn all the time. You normally have to shop for updates, and I don't know if any of these colors will be available at other times. But they're really fun, like, pretty solid tonal colors, so I feel like you could get a similar color palette just by putting together your own yarns from other dyers or from scraps or, mini sets or whatever. So the main color is mine, which is the like very faintest pink. It's like a creamy pink. And this one I believe is berry cashmere. I got from her, did I get this one from her? I know this color originally is from her like ocean, like Under the Sea update that she did, or collection that she did last summer. I don't remember if I got this from that then, or if she had like another update later that had it. I have used this yarn, this color before, actually as a main color for a Stripey Turtle Tank. I love this color. I'm obsessed with it because it has just like a little bit extra, more than just like a standard like neutral white cream. The like little bit of pink makes it just like, I don't know, it's really beautiful, and I feel like it goes really well with these other colors. The other colors I'm using, these two I got from La Mercerie, and I know we have this one at La Mercerie as well, in Berry Sock. These two I got from La Mercerie, and I love these a ton. This one is Moab, and this one is Marigold. And then this one was also from the Under the Sea collection. This is called Escape, which is just a beautiful gray. I also got Puget Sound. I think this one's on Berry Cashmere. This was just like another update she did. I don't remember when, but I've had my eye on this color for a while. Y'all know I love blue. This color blue especially, and also Puget Sound is like where I live. So I had like a really cool, I don't know, emotional connection to this, and I'm totally a sucker for that. I don't know if y'all are as well, but I'm absolutely a sucker for like, I will buy yarn for like the name or the meaning or whatever. If I have like a connection to that, I'm way more likely to buy the yarn. So this one is called Puget Sound, and then the last one I'm using is, this one is the Berry Mini, and this was from like I think it was like an 8-day advent that I did with her last year, or with Woolberry, and this is the Night Swim colorway. So yeah, I love this color palette. I think it's so much. Okay, sorry about that. I was saying that I'm just really in love with this color palette. I feel like it feels very me. It feels very fun. It feels just like, I don't know. I love the palette. I think it's really good. So, I'm missing the blue. I don't know if I can get it all in here, but yeah, y'all know how much I love these colors. I've talked about it multiple times. Just, yeah, a lot of fun with these colors. I guess, I don't know what else I can really talk about. The pattern, this is a bottom-up pattern, and this is the back panel, so I'm going to knit the front panel and then seam them along the sides and on the shoulder tops. I am planning to do like a fun little split hem at the bottom, so the ribbing will not be seamed together with the front. It'll be like a cute little split hem. The intent is for this to be like slightly cropped, but not super cropped, so I don't know if you guys can see. It will be like, I expect to stretch a little bit with blocking as well, but it'll be like kind of cropped, but not as cropped as the stripy turtle tank. So like a really nice, good t-shirt length. The stripes do utilize intarsia, so I'm planning to do a ton of like resources. I'll have probably tutorial videos. There are other great resources online, but like if you haven't done intarsia before and you still want to knit this, my objective is that this is a really accessible entry into an intarsia, because it is like very small. It's only, 2 colors. You can definitely do this. So I don't want the word intarsia to scare anyone away. If you are interested in knitting this, I think you absolutely can, even if you haven't done intarsia before. So I'm hoping to put together some resources for that as well. And yeah, this one, again, I mentioned maybe this is ambitious. I'm hopeful that I can publish this in August. So that would mean that I would need to get going on writing the pattern, and then I will probably be looking for testers in early July, is my hope. So if you're interested in test knitting this, stay tuned. In the next like month or so, I will be looking for you. So yeah, the more that I look at this, the more in love with it I am. It's just so fun. And I want to knit more. I want to plan more color combinations. That's why I need to publish this, so that you guys can do all of the fun color combinations and stuff too, and I can see it. Like I can live vicariously and see other people knit it as well. One thing I'm like a little bummed about, maybe I should have done this differently. I should have done the weave and Steven method, but I do have a lot of ends to deal with. So, I mean, it's not that bad, but it is a lot of ends to manage. But I'll just have to power through and weave them in. And I don't want you guys to think this is going to be like super close fitting, because it is going to be a little boxier than the stripy turtle tank. It's just curling in on the side. There is like armhole shaping over here as well, so I did the whole armhole shaping thing, and yeah. I love it so much. And I'm really excited to hear that like some of you were excited about it as well, because I think it's just such a fun project. Like I don't know, like looking at this and knitting this, I just feel so much joy. I feel like this is just such a fun and like joyful project. So anyway, that is the Slanty stripy top or something. I don't know. I'll pick a name that hopefully represents its like positive energy as well, is my hope for that. So that is my last work in progress. My hope, I'd like to finish knitting both this sample and the sweater sample by the end of the month. Unfortunately, I am leaving for like a week. I'm going to be out of town. I may take, now that I think about it more, I think I'm going to take this sweater with me, so hopefully I may be able to even finish that on my trip. And that would be great. And then I will have about a week left of June by the time I get back. This front panel I think will knit up really fast, just knowing how quickly this one knit up. Yeah, I think it'll go pretty quickly. So, and then I'll get to writing the pattern. I could probably even start writing it, since I've already knit the back panel, I can start writing the back panel part. But I may cast on the front piece to for this today and work on it a little bit before I go out of town. Yeah, that's it for works in progress. I have some plans that I wanted to talk to you all about as well. Oh, I didn't show you a good close-up of this yarn. You know I have to do it for the thumbnail. This is I wound up another skein for the moonset tee. I have 2 skeins, which I think will be enough. But this, let me give you a close-up of this beautiful clay color. It's so pretty. Okay, I need to hide my Band-Aid. But this is the Ovis, etc. Igneae, and it's just so beautiful. When I was winding this up this week, I also wound up some yarn for another summer project. It'll focus on me, yes. I wound up some yarn for another summer project. So I have seen a ton of the Camisole number 5, which is a pattern by, I think it's My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I'll put a picture of the project or of the pattern up here on the screen now. But I also very much want to knit one. I think it just looks like a really fun, cool construction, like basic tank. And I got this yarn from, I believe I got it from Starlight Knitting Society, which is a yarn shop in Portland. I visited that store as part of the Rose City Yarn Crawl earlier this year. And they had a La Bien-Aimée trunk show for the yarn crawl. And I bought 1 skein of, this is Cashmerino, which is a wool cashmere nylon blend. And it feels amazing. It's a fingering weight yarn, and it's just so soft. And this is, I think this is the most iconic La Bien-Aimée color. It may not be, but I think of it as the most iconic La Bien-Aimée color. And of course, y'all know how much I love yellow, so I had to have it. This is the colorway Yellow Brick Road. And I am planning to make just like a very bright, yellow, fun, super soft tank that will be great for the summer. So I was deciding whether to cast this on or the moonset tee to take with me on my travels. And I decided on the moonset tee, but I have this one caked up and ready to go as well. So I will probably cast this on at some point. I don't know when, but I'm really looking forward to having the finished tank. And it feels like it's just a single skein of fingering weight yarn. I feel like it'll go really quickly. I don't know. Maybe, I don't remember if I actually looked. Hopefully this is enough yarn for it. I feel like it is probably for my size, but I'm not sure. I guess I could always make it cropped if it's not enough. But yes, that is my next knitting plan. And then I also have some sewing plans that I'm really excited about. So for some reason, I just like super got in the mood or was thinking about knitting, like, or not knitting, sewing summer projects. Well, one thing that I've been thinking about for a while, and I think I shared this when I got the fabric, is I want to make a Fringe field bag. So y'all may remember Fringe Field or Fringe Supply Co. They were this like really fun bag company. They made these knitting bags. I have a couple of them. This is actually one. This is the Fringe bag. Has really great pockets on the inside, drawstring top, and it has this like really nice little loop handle. And they went out of business and no longer make and sell bags. But Grainline Studio published a field bag pattern, a sewing pattern, so you can make your own field bag. And I bought the kit that also has like the little grommets and the cord and the little strap in it so that I can make a Fringe bag. And I was actually looking at this the other day. I was trying to go through the instructions to see how difficult this is going to be. I'm very nervous because I am not a very confident sewist, but I did get some fabric for this a while ago, and I think I shared this on the podcast as well. This is some waxed canvas that I bought earlier this year in this beautiful like orangey mustard color. I love it. I've never worked with waxed canvas before. I'm very nervous about that as well. I don't know how this is going to go, but I was talking to one of my friends, Maya, who I actually met at Knit in Public Day last Saturday, which I will talk about how much fun that was and what a great time I had in a little bit. But after that, I was talking to her a little bit about some sewing plans, and I said I wanted to knit a Fringe bag, and she mentioned that she also, not knit, always knit is the verb that I go to. I wanted to sew a fringe bag, and she mentioned she also wants to, so I think we're gonna do like a little mini sew along. So if any of you are interested in also sewing a fringe bag, definitely do it. That would be fun. And like, you know, I'm not gonna do like a formal thing, you know, we won't do like a, I'm not a real sewist, so I don't feel like I have the credentials to do an actual like sew along. I don't even know if like sew alongs are a thing that people do, probably. But if you're gonna sew a fringe bag, let me know, like message me on Instagram and we can talk about it and encourage each other because I am stressed. And so Maya and I are gonna be sewing them, and yeah, I think it's gonna be really fun. And something that she mentioned to me when we were talking about it is just like, it's so cool that I will like sew something and then it'll go like immediately into use. Like I'll use it for my knitting projects and it'll be just like a really fun, I think, not quick sew, but it'll be a fun, like very rewarding sew. I will have it and I'll get to use it a ton and I'll be like, I'll see it all the time and be really reminded of it. So yeah, I'm excited about that. That's my next sewing project probably. And then I also have this like green, kind of like sagey, minty linen fabric that I got a while ago, and I don't even remember what I originally had planned for it, but I had the idea that I really want to make a fun like linen set, like a summer linen set. So I want to sew like a pair of elastic waistband shorts and like a cute tank top. I think would be really fun, but I don't have like specific patterns in mind yet. So if y'all have suggestions for what patterns I should use for like elastic shorts and a tank top, let me know. And I think I have enough fabric to do both of those out of this one color of linen. I think that would be just like a fun little summer set. So that is my other kind of sewing plan that I have. Hopefully, maybe I can do in the summer. It's very hard for me to justify at any point sewing instead of knitting. I just enjoy knitting so much more. And sewing, I was also talking about this with Maya as well, like sewing feels like it takes so much effort to just like get everything out. I have to get my machine out, I have to get my ironing board out and my iron and everything. And then like I feel like I have to get it all done that day because I want to put everything away at the end of the day. I don't want to leave things out. I don't know. It just, and I also like, I don't know, hunched over the sewing machine, I feel like my back always hurts and I'm just not nearly as confident in the sewing as I am with knitting. Like it just feels stressful because I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And so I definitely don't love that aspect of it. So I don't know. I need to keep at it because I really love some of the stuff that I've sewn and it is so much quicker. Like if I decide that I want to have like a garment, I can have it turn around like way quicker than knitting. So I think I want to keep doing it, but I also am not going to force myself to like do it a ton when I get a lot more like enjoyment and fulfillment out of knitting. So I think it's going to be the thing where like maybe I knit, or I always go to knit. Maybe I sew like one project per month on average, or like one project every couple months. I think I'm okay with that like level, and I don't know, just kind of go from there, not force it too much. So that is the plans that I have. I don't have any acquisitions this week. Luckily, I need to not be buying anymore, just because I have a lot and I have a lot of stuff that I'm excited about that I don't want to bring too much new stuff in because I want to get through the stuff that I have that I love. So no acquisitions this week. That's kind of the end of my like crafty knitting updates. I have some like just general what we've been up to and like life stuff that I wanted to talk about. One that is like pretty crafting related, I wanted to talk about Knit in Public Day because it was the best day. It was so much fun. So I mentioned this on the podcast before it happened, but this most recent Saturday was Worldwide Knit in Public Day, and we had an event at La Mercerie. So Jess put together just like the most fun day. We had like beautiful decorations. There was like a balloon arch, and we had snacks and drinks and beautiful flowers in the shop, and welcomed anyone who wanted to come in and just like hang out and knit with us. And so we had quite a few people come in that day and shop, but also had some people come and stay and hang out and knit with us for a while. It was just so much fun. I left the store that day feeling so full. I came home and I was probably in the best mood ever. My husband in office, I'm sure, was like, what happened to you today? Because I was just so full and so happy. It was so much fun knitting with everyone. I had such a great time. And so many of you that came into the store told me that you watched the podcast. And first of all, I never know how to like really react. I feel almost embarrassed in those moments because I don't know what to say or whatever, but it makes me so happy. I love that. So several of you also mentioned to me that you like didn't want to be creepy or whatever, and like it's not creepy at all. Please come and talk to me and like tell me that you watched the podcast or whatever. Like, I love that. It makes me feel really good and really happy. So I had several people who came into the store on Saturday mention to me that they watched the podcast. And yeah, that was so much fun. Like I mentioned, several people came in and asked about my pattern, the new Slanty Stripey pattern, which is so much fun. Unfortunately, I didn't bring it with me. I should have brought it on Saturday because people wanted to see it. So I'm actually not going to be in the store this upcoming week because we're traveling. But after that, maybe I'll try to make sure to bring it in the store. So if you want a sneak peek, you can come to La Brasserie in Polsbo and you can see a sneak peek of my new pattern. But my mouth is hurting right now. My face is hurting right now from smiling. It was just so much fun. I got to meet some online knitting friends. I mentioned meeting Maya. I got to meet some other folks that, like I mentioned, like that watched the podcast, and we just had so much fun knitting and chatting, and it was just such a great day. It was, I don't know, I just feel so happy and full, and I left that day. I mentioned I just like was in such a good mood and came home, and I told Nafis like on our car ride home from the ferry that I had such a good feeling that day that I was just like, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, I just felt very at home, if that makes sense. And that's not necessarily something I was worried about. For those of you that don't know, I made a pretty significant change in my life a couple months ago. I left my tech job working in sports, working for the Seattle Mariners, to pursue like crafting and knitting full time. So going to working part time at the yarn store and then also designing. And that was a big change for me. And at the time, I was pretty confident that it was the right move for me, and I still am. I guess what I'm just trying to say is like I felt so validated that this is like where I'm supposed to be, and that like this community is like where I fit, you know? And that was just such a cool feeling. And I don't know, I mean, I maybe this is like too personal to talk about here, but I experience a ton of like social anxiety just like in interacting with people. I've talked about my anxiety here before, but I definitely, like, when I have interactions with people, I leave them often, even if everything goes well and the other person didn't do or say anything, like, you know, though it should make me feel anxious, I often leave those interactions feeling fairly anxious or just, like, fixating on things that I did or I said and worrying that I upset someone or that I left that interaction and that person is like thinking negatively of me or whatever. Just those kinds of like anxieties are something that I experience a lot of. And it was a huge deal because I came home on Saturday and I told Nafis that I had a full day of interacting with people and I wasn't anxious afterward. I didn't feel like I wasn't fixating on things that I did and said. And I think that just goes to show that it was such positive interactions. I was so happy and comfortable. And that, I think, really contributed to this feeling of me being, like, where I belong. Because that, like, standard level of, like, social anxiety that I experienced was lessened even in a day when I did a lot of interacting with people. So, anyway, I don't know if that was maybe too much to share here, but I just felt like it was really, really good, and I wanted to share that with you all too, and also thank all of you that came and said hi was just so much fun. Yeah, and I am so looking forward to more people coming to the store that I get to meet, and some other fun trips that I have planned later in the year, like going to Rhinebeck. We got tickets for Indie Untangled. If you're unfamiliar, that is a fun little like yarn market that happens on the Friday before Rhinebeck in New York. And we got tickets, my friends and I that are going to Rhinebeck together, we got tickets for Indie Untangled. I was actually on the ferry, and it was a stressful time. I think my friends were, I don't have great internet on the ferry, so my friends did a great job of going on and getting tickets for us. So I am just so excited for that, and I'm thinking about hopefully more of you that don't live in this area that might potentially be going to Rhinebeck, I could meet there in New York as well, which I just love and would be so much fun. So yeah, I don't know. Altogether, just feeling very good and positive about my place here in this community, and all of you. I love you all, and I'm just so happy. So that was one thing I wanted to mention. I talked about there were high highs and low lows. That was the highest high that I had this week. The lowest low was yesterday. I am not going to go into detail because it was fairly, I don't want to say graphic, but yeah, there was like blood and it was bad. But basically I was cutting a watermelon yesterday, and I cut my finger. Like, I sliced my finger pretty bad. So bad that we did pretty seriously consider going to the emergency room. I didn't know if I cut it deep enough that I had like nerve damage issues, or if it would stop bleeding. Yes, all very bad things. And unfortunately, my husband is very queasy about blood. Even if he doesn't see it, just like knowing that it's happening, or like specific, if there are words or descriptions I use, that can make him like queasy to the point where he would potentially like pass out. So it was not great. I cut myself and was like freaking out, and he was trying really hard to be like super helpful, and he was doing a great job, but also I could tell was like on the verge of like maybe passing out. I was like, okay, no, like you need to go away. And then I like video called my dad and was like trying to show him my finger. And was like, do I need to go to the emergency room? Like, is this okay? I ended up deciding not to go. I put pressure on it and like held it above my head, and it stopped bleeding after like 5 to 10 minutes. So that is good. And then, yeah, now I have a wound on my finger. It is on my left index finger, right on the side, which is right where you go to like squeeze and grab things. And every time I try to squeeze and grab something, it is horrible pain. Still, it's quite painful. I expect this injury will take me probably several weeks to heal, which is not good for knitting. I have already been trying to knit, and like I mentioned before, knitting is not so bad, but the way that my tension works when I purl, it's like a little bit uncomfortable. I got special Neosporin that has pain relief in it, and I've been switching that out like twice a day. And that has helped some. The pain relief Neosporin actually has helped some. So I think I'm going to be able to knit, and it's not going to be a problem. It is a little bit uncomfortable, but yeah, I'm pretty much just going to have this Band-Aid and horrible little pain finger cut for probably a while. So not the best. That sucked. That was not good. Not pleasant, but it happens. Novice had actually just sharpened our knives, which I think was good in some ways and maybe bad in some ways. I don't need to go through the specifics here, but basically the knife was like kind of stuck in the watermelon, and then I like forced it and it came through quickly was the issue. But at least my cut is nice and like clean and good, and not like, you know, jaggedy because of the sharp knife. So that's good. But yeah, sorry if that made anyone else queasy. I probably said more than I should have, but I cut my finger. It's bad. It hurts. I think I don't have like, you know, serious nerve damage or anything, but I am gonna be uncomfortable for a while because I did this. So yeah, What else? We have been doing some more tending to our garden in the last little bit. I watched a video yesterday about how to prune tomatoes, so if you guys know anything about gardening or tomato growing, I'm definitely open ears for that. I am going to give it a go. After I record this, I'm going to go try to prune our tomato plants. We have grown tomatoes the last several years and have never pruned the plants, which some of you are probably like, Emily, no, bad. You should be pruning your tomato plants. And I know that now. I've learned that. And now I'm going to go prune our tomato plants. But I learned about like which types of leaves and branches are which things and which ones you're supposed to cut and which ones not. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to try that. I think I mentioned on here that we had tried kale plants from seed, and that did not go well. We thought that the kale was growing. We think now that it was just weeds. It was not going well. So we ended up just going and getting kale starter plants from the store. So I got some kale plants, got those planted. They're doing great now. Our strawberry plants are doing amazing. We put them in like a little cage this year so that critters couldn't get to them and take the strawberries, and it is going great. We have probably over 100 strawberries that are growing on our 2 plants, and I guess it's more than that. It's 2 pots, but I think one of the pots has like 3 strawberry plants in it. And we're worried that they're all going to ripen while we're out of town, but hopefully they can hold on and make it past that. But yeah, we're going to have a lot of strawberries. So if anyone has good strawberry recipes, definitely send those my way. I'm into making strawberry desserts. We're going to eat tons of fresh strawberries, but also like I might do jam. Nafis was like no to jam because he said that you lose like the real strawberry sweetness because you just add sugar, so it just tastes like sugar. But I feel like jam could be good. I don't know. So we're going to have lots of strawberries. So that I'm looking forward to. We have some herbs that we've been growing that are going really well. We actually used some of our fresh rosemary in dinner last night. That was the other thing I was going to tell you all about. We're about to go out of town, so we don't have like a Sunday brunch or anything for this week, but we made dinner last night, and we had a couple things that we've been thinking about that we were really wanting to try. One was I was inspired by this restaurant in Winslow, which is like right off of the ferry on Bainbridge Island, called Bassa, which is one of my very favorite restaurants. It is a super tasty Vietnamese restaurant, so if you're in the area, you should definitely go there. They have great food, but one of the things they have, it's called the Truffle Jojos, and it's like these like truffle like crispy potatoes, and they have a lemongrass aioli that you dip them in, and it's so good. And so I asked Nafis, he has been getting lemongrass from the Asian grocery store recently because he has been making like some lunch recipes that use lemongrass. He does like a lemongrass chicken and like a soup or whatever. So he had some lemongrass, and I was like, will you make us lemongrass aioli, and then I'll make crispy potatoes, and we can have like our own, we're not going to do truffle, but we'll have like our little Jojos with our crispy potatoes, and dip it in lemongrass aioli. So we did that last night. We also did one of our favorites, which is a baked orange chicken. So it's one where you like take the chicken and dip it in like egg and flour and breadcrumbs to make it like have kind of a crispy coating, and then bake it, and then make like an orange sauce with like orange juice and ginger and garlic. So good. And so we did orange chicken, we did the potatoes. I did our favorite Brussels sprout recipe, which was inspired by these Brussels sprouts we got at a restaurant when we were traveling last year. It is a pan-fried Brussels sprout with pickled red onion we love and we put on everything, feta, candied nuts, and balsamic glaze. And I think the one we got at the restaurant also had bacon, but we didn't put that on it this time. So yes, pan-fried Brussels sprouts, and then pickled onion, feta, candied nuts. We used they're like coconut cashews from Trader Joe's, which were so good. So we used that, and then balsamic glaze, and that was really tasty. And then also last week I made scallion pancakes for the first time, And I can link the recipe we used for the scallion pancakes. I'll link the recipes we used for basically everything in case you guys want to make this stuff because it was all very good. But we made scallion pancakes with like a dish that we made last week, and we had too much dough. Like it was too much for like what we were going to eat. And so I saved half of the dough and just froze it. And then I made scallion pancakes last night as well. We had like some late stuff, and so we didn't end up cooking until like 8 o'clock, and it took the whole meal altogether took us like over 2 hours to make. So we didn't eat until after 10 o'clock last night. So it was really late, but it was so good, y'all. It was so good. So this potato recipe, I am definitely going to link below because you guys should check it out. Definitely the best roasted potatoes, like potatoes in the oven I've ever made, because the way you do it, you peel them and then boil them first, and then you get them soft enough that they're kind of like mushy on the outside, and then you bake them. You like put oil on them. The oil we used also, this is where we used our fresh rosemary. We infused olive oil like on the stove with garlic and fresh rosemary, and then like strained it out, and then toss the boiled potatoes in the olive oil that has been infused with rosemary and garlic, and then bake them for like an eternity. And they got so crispy on the outside and so soft on the inside. It was so good. It was seriously like the best roasted potatoes. It took forever. It took like end to end like an hour and a half, but it was absolutely worth it. I'm definitely going to be making those potatoes again, and I'm really looking forward to it. We have leftovers, so we're going to eat that tonight as well. Oh my gosh, those potatoes were so good. And Nofis made lemongrass aioli, and he used like a roasted peanut oil that we had. And it was definitely like a stronger, like nutty flavor than the one we had at Basa, but it was so tasty. Had like lime juice and lemongrass. Ow, God, sorry, I just poked my finger in the wounded part. Okay. Sorry about that. It's pretty painful. I need to be more careful. Okay, I'm taking a deep breath. Okay. We're good. We're good. I don't remember what I was saying. I was talking about the aioli. So it has like lime juice and lemongrass and peanut oil and some other stuff that I probably don't remember because he made it, but it was so good. I don't think he really used a recipe for that, or like he may have combined multiple recipes, so I may not be able to link that below, but you can probably find your own recipe for lemongrass aioli or just like another aioli and add like lemongrass to it. So that was really good. And then honestly, I think my favorite part may have been the scallion pancakes. They're so good. And like way easier than you would expect as well. Like I want to make them like every day now. They're so good. So anyway, it was a really amazing dinner that we had last night. We talked about like all the components were so good, but they all were kind of involved and took a long time. Like the orange chicken takes forever. And Nofis basically did the orange chicken and the aioli, and then I did everything else. And he was working like probably more than I was. The chicken is just like so involved. But we loved all the individual components, but it was kind of a lot to do them all together. So I think next time we would only do like one or two of these components at a time and do like easier components for the rest. So like if we're going to do the potatoes, then do like an easier chicken or something. Or like maybe don't do both the potatoes and the scallion pancakes or whatever. I don't know. It was so good though. So anyway, that was our dinner for last night. Yeah, that's pretty much, I think, all I had that I wanted to talk about today. It feels like a lot has been going on this week, just, I don't know. Knit in public day, and me slicing myself, and good dinners, and yeah, the weather, it seems like it's not quite sure. Like, not quite summer yet, but some days you can see blue in the sky and it's not raining, so I don't know. Not quite sure what we have going on here in Seattle, but yeah, we're definitely hoping that we come back from our travels and it's like full-on summer in Seattle, like good weather. Our wedding anniversary is on Thursday as well, so Nofis and I are going to be flying on our anniversary. we were hoping to do some like celebration before, but we probably won't end up doing it until after we get back, just because again, like the weather isn't great. And so like after we got married, on the day we got married in June 2018, we had our wedding, which we served lunch at our wedding. It was like an afternoon wedding, and then everyone left, and Nafis and I went and parasailed together, just like to celebrate that we got married, and then we went to dinner afterward. So ever since then, we have always done like some sort of fun outdoor activity on our anniversary, and we're going to be traveling this year, so we won't be able to. I think we actually are going to kayak in Madison like the day after our anniversary, so that'll be fun. It'll be a little different doing it with family, not the same kind of like anniversary vibe, but that's okay. But anyway, we were thinking about trying to go like kayaking or something here before we left, but we really want to wait until like the weather is really good so that it's a great time outside. So we'll probably end up doing that after we get back. We also at our wedding, instead of wedding cake, we had ice cream sandwiches. My family made tons of homemade cookies for the wedding, and then we bought Tillamook ice cream, and we had ice cream sandwiches at the wedding. So ever since then, also on our anniversary, we make ice cream sandwiches to celebrate as well. So this is the first year that we have an ice cream machine as well. So normally we would just like make homemade cookies and then buy ice cream and make ice cream sandwiches. But this year we're gonna actually make the ice cream and the cookies and make homemade ice cream sandwiches, which I think are gonna be so good. But again, we're traveling on Thursday, so we didn't want to do that right before we left because we were gonna have like leftovers and stuff that we will like want to eat for several days or like share with friends or whatever. So we're probably gonna do that after we get back from our travels as well. So we'll probably have some fun anniversary celebrations upcoming in late June after our travels. And yeah, I probably won't post a video next week. I know it won't be like at my normal time because I don't get back until I think Wednesday of next week. Today's Tuesday, June 14th. So next week I probably won't, and then the week after that, hopefully I'll be back with some updates about what I was able to accomplish over the last couple weeks, and if I have finished any of my designs and cast on anything new, maybe sewn something, I don't know, I guess we'll see. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and again, I'm just like feeling so full, even those of you that don't live close to me but have sent me messages or commented or engaged just watching this, like just feeling really full and happy to be a part of this community, and you all are the reason for that, so thank you. And yeah, I hope you do lots of knitting and watch lots of baseball and have a fabulous week. Bye.